The moment I found that phone, I knew my life was about to shatter into a million pieces. But let me back up. I'm Nora, 29 years old, mother of two beautiful kids. And until 3 weeks ago, I thought I had a decent marriage. Not perfect, but decent. Hunter and I had been together for 8 years, married for 6. We met at a friend's barbecue when I was fresh out of college, and he was this charming guy with a killer smile who made me laugh until my sides hurt. Our life looked normal from the outside. We had a 3-bedroom house in the suburbs, 2 kids, Lily who's 7 and Max who's 5, and what I thought was a solid foundation. Hunter worked in sales for a tech company, always traveling, always busy. I worked part-time as a graphic designer from home so I could be there for the kids. We had date nights once a month, family dinners, most evenings when he was home, and I genuinely believed we were happy. The cracks had been showing for months though. Hunter started working later, taking more business trips, being distant when he was home. When I'd ask if everything was okay, he'd kiss my forehead and say, "Just work stress, babe. Nothing to worry about." I believed him because that's what you do when you trust someone, you take their word for it. That Tuesday started like any other. I dropped the kids at school, came home to work on a client project, and realized I'd left my laptop charger in Hunter's car. He'd taken my car that morning because his was making a weird noise, so his SUV was sitting in the driveway. I grabbed his keys and went out to search for my charger. It wasn't in the front seat or the console. I checked the back, nothing. Then I opened the glove box, and there it was. Not my charger, but a phone. A second phone. My heart started racing because who has a second phone unless they're hiding something? My hands were shaking as I picked it up. It was one of those cheap prepaid phones, already powered on, no password protection. The home screen lit up with notification after notification. The first thing I saw was a text preview from someone saved as a heart that said, "Can't wait to see you tonight, baby." Same place? My stomach dropped to my feet. I sat there in his car, in my own driveway, feeling like the ground had opened up beneath me. With trembling fingers, I opened the messages. Months. There were months of messages between Hunter and this, a heart. I scrolled up, watching my marriage unravel backwards through time. The messages went back 6 months. 6 months of "I love you and I miss you and last night was amazing." 6 months of planning secret meetups while I was home with our kids, thinking he was at work dinners or stuck in meetings. But the messages weren't even the worst part. There were photos, dozens of them. This woman, Alana, I learned her name from the messages, was gorgeous in that Instagram filter kind of way. Long blonde hair, perfect smile, probably 10 years younger than me. There were selfies of them together at restaurants, at hotels, even at a beach somewhere. In one photo, she was wearing a necklace I recognized. Hunter had told me he'd lost it when I asked about the credit card charge. "Must have been fraud," he'd said. Then I found the photos that made me want to throw up. Pictures of Alana with my kids. My kids. At the park, at an ice cream shop, at what looked like the zoo. Lily was sitting on her lap in one photo, both of them laughing. Max was holding her hand in another. The rage that filled me in that moment was unlike anything I'd ever felt. It wasn't just betrayal anymore, this was about my children. I screenshot everything. Every message, every photo, every timestamp. My phone storage was filling up, but I didn't care. I needed evidence. As I was screenshotting, a new message popped up from Alana. "Hunter, baby, are you bringing the kids to the park again this weekend? Lily said she wants to show me her new bike," Lily said. My daughter had been talking to this woman, forming a relationship with her, and I had no idea. How many work emergencies had actually been family outings with his mistress? I sat in that car for an hour, going through everything. The more I read, the more I understood the depth of his deception. He'd told Alana we were separated, that we were only staying together for the kids, that divorce papers were already in motion. He'd painted me as this cold, controlling wife who didn't understand him. In one message, he actually wrote, "Nora doesn't get me like you do. With her, I'm just going through the motions." Going through the motions. Is that what our daughter's birthday party last month was? Just motions? What about when we stayed up all night when Max had the flu? Or when we renewed our vows on our 5th anniversary? Were those just motions too? I found hotel receipts in his email. He'd linked the account to this phone. The Marriott downtown, the Hilton by the airport, even a bed and breakfast 2 hours away, where we'd gone for our anniversary 2 years ago. He'd taken her to our special place. The violation of it all made me want to scream, but I couldn't. I was still sitting in my own driveway in broad daylight, and Mrs. Patterson next door was already giving me curious looks through her window. I went back inside, phone in hand, and called my sister Emma. She answered on the second ring, probably hearing something in my voice when I said her name. "What's wrong?" she asked immediately. "I need you to come over, now. Don't ask questions. Just come." 20 minutes later, Emma was sitting across from me at my kitchen table, scrolling through the phone with her mouth hanging open. She's always been the protective older sister, but I'd never seen her this angry. Her face was red, her hands were clenched, and she kept muttering curses under her breath. "That piece of Nora, I'm so sorry. What are you going to do?" I'd been thinking about that since I found the phone. My first instinct was to pack up the kids and leave, but this was their home, their stability. Why should we be the ones to go? My second thought was to confront him immediately, but I needed a plan. I needed to be smart about this. "I'm going to text him from this phone," I said, my voice steadier than I felt. As Emma watched as I typed out a message. "Hey baby, can we talk? Something important came up." I hit send and waited. Within 30 seconds, Hunter was typing back. Of course, love. Everything okay? In a meeting, but I can step out. Love. He called her love while I was sitting in the house we'd built together, wearing the wedding ring he'd put on my finger. I typed back. Can you come to the usual place tonight? 7 p.m.? Really need to see you. Absolutely. I'll tell Nora I have a client dinner. Can't wait to see you. I screenshot that message too, then looked at Emma. The usual place. I need to find out where that is. I scrolled back through their messages until I found it. The Rosewood Bar, downtown. They met there every Thursday. Today was Thursday. Emma grabbed my hand. You're not seriously going to? Oh, I'm going, I said. But first, I'm going to send him one more message. From me this time. I picked up my actual phone and typed out a text to Hunter. Hey babe, my sister wants to take me out tonight for some girl time. Can you handle dinner with the kids? Maybe order pizza? Love you. His response was almost instant. Of course. You deserve a night out. Have fun with Emma. Love you too. The ease with which he lied was breathtaking. No hesitation, no guilt, just smooth deception like he'd been doing it his whole life. Which, I was starting to realize, maybe he had. Emma and I spent the afternoon planning. She picked up the kids from school and took them to her house for a surprise sleepover with cousins. I told them Mommy had to work late but I'd see them tomorrow. Lily hugged me extra tight and I had to turn away so she wouldn't see me cry. The thought that she'd been spending time with Hunter's mistress, that this woman had been playing some sick version of stepmom, made me want to destroy something. At 6:45, I was sitting in my car outside the Rosewood Bar. I'd changed into a black dress, done my makeup, and tried to look like I hadn't spent the afternoon crying and screaming into pillows. I watched the entrance, waiting. At 6:58, Hunter walked in, checking his phone, smoothing his hair. He was wearing the cologne I'd bought him for Christmas. I waited 5 minutes, then walked in. The Rosewood was dimly lit, all leather booths and expensive cocktails. I spotted them immediately corner booth, her hand on his arm, both of them laughing at something on his phone. Probably planning their next lie. I walked straight up to their table. The look on Hunter's face when he saw me, I'll remember it forever. The color drained from his skin, his mouth opened and closed like a fish, and his hand jerked away from Alana's like she was on fire. Nora, he stammered. This isn't, I can explain. No need, I said, voice calm and cold. I turned to Alana, who looked confused and slightly annoyed. Hi, I'm Nora. The wife. The one who supposedly already divorced him. Nice to finally meet you. Alana's eyes widened. She looked at Hunter, then back at me. He said he told me you were separated. That you knew about us. Did he also tell you that we made love 3 nights ago? Or that we went to our daughter's school play together last week? Or that we're supposed to go to his parents' house for dinner this Sunday? Hunter stood up, reaching for me. Nora, please. Let's talk about this at home. I stepped back. Don't touch me. And we're not talking about anything at home. I pulled out the second phone and set it on the table. Found your little secret. Screenshot everything. Every message, every photo, every lie. Alana was staring at Hunter now, and I could see the realization dawning on her face. You said she was cold, that she didn't love you anymore. You said the marriage was over. It is now, I said. I looked at Hunter one more time. I'll be at Emma's with the kids. Don't come near us. Then I walked out, my heels clicking on the floor, my head held high even though I wanted to collapse. I made it to my car before the tears came. Huge, body-shaking sobs that felt like they were being ripped from my chest. 8 years. 8 years of my life, and for what? To be the joke he laughed about with his mistress? My phone buzzed. Hunter. Please, Nora, let me explain. It's not what you think. I laughed through my tears and typed back. It's exactly what I think. I found the phone. Found the photos. Found the messages. Congrats, you're the dumbest cheater alive. I drove to Emma's house, where she was waiting with wine and tissues. The kids were asleep upstairs, blissfully unaware that their world was about to change. Emma held me while I cried, then helped me make a plan. First thing tomorrow, I'd call a lawyer. Document everything. Figure out custody arrangements. Start untangling 8 years of intertwined lives. But Hunter wasn't done. The texts started coming fast and furious. You ambushed me. You had no right to go through my things. This is why I needed someone else. You're so controlling. Alana means nothing. You're overreacting. Think about the kids. I love you. Only you. Please answer me. Answer me. Then the calls started. 15 in a row before Emma took my phone and blocked his number. But he wasn't giving up that easily. At 11 p.m., there was a pounding on Emma's door. Hunter was outside, drunk from the sound of it, demanding to talk to me. I know you're in there, Nora. You can't keep my kids from me. We need to talk about this like adults. Emma's husband, Tom, went to the door. Hunter, you need to leave. Now, before I call the cops. This is between me and my wife, Hunter shouted. Nora, come out here and face me. I stood at the top of the stairs, listening to the man I'd loved turn into someone I didn't recognize. Or maybe I was finally recognizing who he'd always been. Emma was already on the phone with the police, but Hunter left before they arrived, shouting that this wasn't over. The next morning, I woke up to 53 missed calls from various numbers Hunter had been calling from his work phone, his friends' phones, even his mother's phone. There were dozens of texts from his family, all saying variations of, "There must be a misunderstanding," and "Hunter's devastated, please talk to him." Then I got a text from an unknown number. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." No name, no context, but something about it made my skin crawl. I showed it to Emma, who immediately said I should screenshot it and send it to the lawyer I was meeting with that afternoon. The lawyer, Patricia Hendricks, was a tiny woman with a huge presence. She looked at all my evidence, took notes, and said, "This is one of the most clear-cut cases I've seen. The infidelity, the deception, bringing the children around his mistress without your knowledge, judges don't look kindly on that." We discussed custody, assets, support. It was surreal, reducing 8 years to legal terms and financial obligations. But Patricia was confident we had a strong case, especially with all the documentation I'd gathered. That afternoon, I had to face the kids. They knew something was wrong, kids always do. I sat them down and explained, in the gentlest way possible, that Daddy and Mommy needed some time apart, that it wasn't their fault, that we both loved them very much. But sometimes grown-ups have problems they can't fix. Lily asked, "Is it because of the lady at the park?" "Alana?" My heart stopped. "What do you know about Alana, sweetheart?" "Daddy said she was a friend from work. She's nice, but she always wanted to take pictures with us." I didn't like that. Even my 7-year-old had better instincts than I did. I hugged her tight and promised that everything would be okay, even though I wasn't sure it would be. That evening, while the kids were watching a movie, I got a DM on Instagram from Alana. "We need to talk." I didn't know the truth. He lied to me too. Against my better judgment, I responded, "What do you want?" "To apologize. And to give you information you need to know. Can we meet?" Emma thought it was a trap, but something in me needed to hear what she had to say. We agreed to meet at a coffee shop the next morning, public and safe. Alana looked different without the filters and perfect lighting. She looked tired, young, and genuinely upset. She started talking before I even sat down. "I'm so sorry, I had no idea. He told me you were separated, that you were only together for the kids, that you knew about me. He said you had an arrangement. And you believed him?" I asked, my voice harder than I intended. I know how it sounds, but he was so convincing. He showed me fake divorce papers, said you were dating someone too. I never meant I would never knowingly. She stopped, composing herself. "There's more. I'm not the only one." My coffee cup froze halfway to my lips. "What do you mean you're not the only one?" Alana pulled out her phone, showing me messages from Hunter. "After you confronted us, I went through everything. Found some inconsistencies. Times he said he was with me but wasn't. Credit card charges at places we never went. So I did some digging." She showed me an Instagram profile for a woman named Becca, another for someone called Melissa. Both had photos with time-stamped discrepancies that matched Hunter's business trips. "He's been juggling at least 3 of us. Possibly more," Alana said. I found Becca through a tagged photo at a conference he attended. Melissa commented on one of his LinkedIn posts. They clearly knew each other personally. I felt numb. It wasn't just an affair. It was a whole secret life. Multiple lives. How had I been so blind? "There's something else," Alana continued. "He told me he worked at a different company, said he was regional sales director at Tech Corp. But when I looked it up after our confrontation, that position doesn't exist. I don't know where he actually works or what he actually does." Now I was confused. "He works at Digital Solutions. Has for 3 years. Alana shook her head. "I called Digital Solutions yesterday, pretending to be a client. They've never heard of Hunter Morrison." The coffee shop seemed to spin around me. If he wasn't working where he said he was, where was our money coming from? What else had he lied about? I thanked Alana for the information, and she apologized again before leaving. I sat there for another hour, trying to process everything. Then I called Patricia and told her what I'd learned. She said she'd hire a private investigator immediately. When I got back to Emma's, Hunter's car was parked outside. He was leaning against it, looking haggard but trying to appear casual. Tom stepped out onto the porch, arms crossed, as I parked. 5 minutes, Hunter called out. "That's all I'm asking for. 5 minutes to explain." "There's nothing to explain," I said, walking past him. He grabbed my arm. Not hard, but enough to stop me. "You don't understand, Nora. It's complicated. There are things people involved that you don't know about." "Let go of me," I said quietly, and something in my voice must have warned him because he released my arm immediately. "Just listen," he pleaded. "Alana, the others, they don't mean anything. You're my wife. You're the mother of my children. That means something." "It should have meant something to you," I shot back, "before you decided to create this whole fantasy world where you're some big shot with multiple girlfriends." His face changed, hardened. "You never let me be myself. Always nagging about money, about spending time with the kids, about my job. A man needs respect, Nora. Appreciation. So you lied about your entire life? Where do you actually work, Hunter? Because Digital Solutions has never heard of you." The mask slipped completely then. For a second, I saw panic in his eyes before he covered it with anger. "You've been investigating me? Going behind my back? That's rich. Coming from the man with a secret phone and multiple girlfriends. You know what? Fine, you want the truth? I got laid off 8 months ago. Happy? I've been doing freelance work, driving for rideshare, whatever I could to keep money coming in while I looked for something else. but I couldn't tell you because you'd look at me exactly like you're looking at me now, like I'm a failure. So instead, you decided to what? Create an elaborate fantasy life with multiple women who think you're successful? I needed to feel like myself again. Like I mattered, and they made me feel that way. And the kids? Bringing them around Alana? She liked them. Said I was a good father. Do you know how long it's been since someone said something nice about me without it being followed by a but? I stared at him, this stranger wearing my husband's face. You're right, you are a failure. Not because you lost your job, but because instead of being honest, instead of facing reality, you chose to lie and cheat and drag our children into your deception. We could have figured it out together. That's what marriages are for. But you chose this. Hunter's face crumpled. I can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll cut them all off. I'll get a real job. Please, Nora, don't throw away 8 years. You threw them away, I said. Every time you lied, every time you chose them over us, every time you used our children as props in your fantasy life, you threw us away. I turned to go inside, but his next words stopped me cold. You'll never make it without me. You know that, right? Part-time design work isn't going to pay the bills. You need me. I turned back, and maybe he saw something in my face because he took a step back. I'd rather live in a cardboard box than spend another day pretending you're the man I thought I married. And for the record, I've already got 3 new clients lined up. Full-time work. Turns out I'm actually good at what I do when I'm not spending all my energy wondering why my husband is acting strange. Tom stepped forward then. Time to go, Hunter. Don't come back here. Hunter looked between us all, then laughed bitterly. Fine. You want to be the victim, Nora? Be the victim. Tell everyone how horrible I am. But remember, you're the one breaking up our family. You're the one who couldn't forgive. You're the one our kids will blame. He got in his car and drove away, and I knew it wasn't over. There would be custody battles, divorce proceedings, probably more dramatics. But standing there on Emma's porch, surrounded by people who actually loved me, I felt something I hadn't felt in months. Free. The divorce papers were served a week later. Hunter tried everything: tears, threats, love bombing, even sending his mother to plead his case. But I was done. The private investigator found out he'd been running this game for over a year, funded by credit cards he'd taken out in my name without my knowledge. The debt was substantial, but Patricia said we could prove fraud. 3 months later, I'm in a small apartment with the kids. It's not the house in the suburbs, but it's ours. Lily and Max see Hunter every other weekend, supervised at first until the court was satisfied he wasn't going to involve them in any more of his schemes. He's working a real job now, paying child support, and supposedly in therapy. Alana reached out once more to apologize and let me know she was pressing charges for fraud, apparently. He'd borrowed money from her too. Becca and Melissa had similar stories. We actually formed a weird support group, the 4 women he'd deceived, sharing information for our respective legal cases. Hunter still texts occasionally, alternating between begging for another chance and blaming me for ruining his life. His family still thinks I'm overreacting, that I should have stood by my man. But Emma helped me see the truth. Standing by someone doesn't mean enabling their lies or accepting their betrayal. Last week, Lily asked me if Daddy and I would ever get back together. I told her the truth in the gentlest way I could, that sometimes people change in ways that mean they can't be together anymore, but that both of us would always love her and Max. I'm glad you're not sad anymore, Mommy, she said, hugging me tight. And she was right. I wasn't sad anymore. Angry sometimes, frustrated often, but not sad. Because I'd learned something valuable through all of this. I'd rather be alone than with someone who makes me feel alone. I'd rather struggle financially than live a lie. And I'd definitely rather be the villain in Hunter's story than the fool in my own. He calls me heartless. His family calls me vindictive. But I know the truth, I'm neither. I'm just a woman who finally found her worth and refused to settle for less. And that's the example I want to set for my kids. That love shouldn't require you to lose yourself. And forgiveness doesn't mean accepting the unacceptable.